after that, Panarella, and Charlie Moose was another one who was,
Was
and Charlie Moose, yeah, Charlie Moose, I got to meet
yeah.
and sit with. I went and picked him up from the airport during the war. You
Wow.
know, they brought him in from Vegas to try to uh, mediate. To try to get the two sides to stop.
Yeah.
And I picked him up from the airport, and my dad had told me some stories about this guy that soon as he got into my car, I was thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, this motherfucker, if he does or says something that's fucking sideways, I swear I'm just gonna fucking open the door on the fucking Bell Parkway and just push him out. Yeah.
Love it.
My dad had told me a quick story, and this is why I felt that way. My dad had told me he had bought his first brand new car, and he had to go pick up Charlie. And Charlie was the type of guy that he would tell you to be on the corner at 3 o'clock, saying that he's going to be there, make sure you're there to pick me up, and
Yeah.
then not show up till 6.
Mm.
And that if you weren't there, you were
Right.
fucking lit. You were lit. He lit you up. So my dad had bought a new car, and he goes to pick up Charlie. Charlie's smoking a cigar, and he's looking for an ashtray in the car. And at first, my father had turned around and says, Charlie, look, it's a new car. I really don't want to smoke in it or whatever. But my dad said it went in one ear and out the other.
Mm.
So he couldn't find an ashtray. So my dad said, verbatim, Willie, he put the fucking cigar out in my dashboard.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was driving, and I picked him up in a brand new Acura. So that's why,
Mm.
that thought had, so he comes out of the airport, and right away he puts the cigar in his mouth. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Charlie, bro, I'm sorry. I didn't say bro. I'm like, Charlie, I'm sorry, but there's no smoking in my car. And he looked at me like with a pause as he was about to, like, should I get in the car or not? And
Yeah.
I'm looking at him like, hey, it's up to you. I'm here to pick you up. You don't want to get the fuck in, I'm leaving. You know?
And he
But,
was most prolific killers in the organization. Like he was a maniac.
yeah, but, to tell you the
I
truth,
would have thought.
when we got to talking on the drive back to the house,
Yeah.
and he maybe he softened in his old age, my father said, but he wasn't as bad as what I was expecting,
Well,
um
so I always get fascinated because I had, I guess, the pleasure, if you will, of interviewing people that were in the
fucking
life,
quiet.
but also people that were sons, daughters, etc. Even I just interviewed Pablo Escobar's wife, so I got the wife standpoint of one of the biggest drug dealers of all time. So I want to understand your father, as I understand, got made in '82, right? What was the Cutolo household like? And I know your father was always an earner, but what was your like going into the '80s? Right? And then how was your life after the '80s, early to mid '80s, after he got made? Was there any type of financial bump, and like, was there, did your lifestyles change? And I'd like to kind of get a gauge for that.
um I can't say, in the early '80s if we weren't living extravagantly.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. The mortgage was paid, food was always on the table. Um, but I do remember, like, not this fucking fly, Jesus Christ. Um, but I do remember, not having matching dishes, different glasses, something that as we got older was not the case. So uh, I do remember that my dad had became a little less calm, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Um, I do recall I used to get beat a lot, and again, that's another thing that eventually I will
Talk about,
speak
yeah.
on a little bit more. Yeah.
There's a blood for the
Um,
podcast. Love it there. Your podcast will talk.